Welcome to the first episode of the Writers' Room. I'm your host, Tessa Durrell, and today I'm joined by Sam and Ben Hutchins, some of Ocali's very own writers. So without further ado, let's take a step into the Writers' Room. So first up, each week we'll have writers from the Ocali come on and we'll interview them and talk about some of their stories with them. So today I'm going to have you guys just introduce yourselves a little bit, maybe talk about some of the work you've done.
Yeah, we're identical twins. That might be the first thing that jumps off to viewers on the camera, but we're both seniors at Oklahoma State, and as identical twins, our resumes will probably sound pretty familiar, but we've been writing for the Ocali since the second semester of our freshman year, and mostly sports writers. We've covered almost every sport there is here at Oklahoma State, but we've also dabbled in some news, as we'll get into with one of Ben's stories that he wrote recently. Did I cover everything, Ben?
The first thing that's going to jump off, I think, to folks is your shirt, man. I mean, come on. That's pretty in your face, but no, it livens up the studio. I'd say we're happy to be here.
So how long have you guys been writing for the Ocali?
Yeah, so we got involved pretty early when one of our buddies from class brought us down, and the second semester of our freshman year, we started covering women's tennis, cowgirl tennis here, and really enjoyed that, and we just got further and further involved in sports mostly, covering some news. But yeah, we've been on tennis, soccer, softball, baseball, football, women's basketball, men's basketball, track, equestrian, like if you name it, we've done it here.
Awesome. So maybe we can talk about your latest story. You covered something with Professor Jennifer Kuntz on her experiences with 9/11. Maybe you want to tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the three of us know we've all had Professor Jennifer Kuntz in the Spear School of Business. She's a teacher there, and Sam and I, we were in her class last year, and it was 9/11, and she diverted from her normal lesson plan of covering business, and she talked about her experience in Manhattan, downtown New York, on that morning. And wow. I mean, that's the thing that has probably stuck with me most from that entire class, is that one day where she sat down and really changed my perspective on it. So I had, I heard you talk in class about it, I got to write this story. So this year I just got to talk to her last week, and she told me all about waking up that morning. And it was the first time in a while she had gone to New Jersey. She wasn't in New York, in her apartment 2 blocks from where the towers fell. She was in New Jersey, and she heard about the plane crashing in, thought it was maybe an accident, and then the second one hit, and she realized, hey, I got to get back home. So she was actually stuck in New Jersey that first night, away from her husband. She couldn't call him for hours because the way it worked, I guess everyone's phone was down. You can't call someone with a New York number, but thankfully she had contact back home with her parents in Texas, so she was able to say, hey, I'm okay, and spent the night in New York, and getting back was a whole nother adventure.
Yeah, I'm sure. You guys are from Oklahoma as well. You never really hear firsthand experiences from 9/11. So what is it like to get to write a story on someone like Jennifer Kuntz, who did have that firsthand experience? Did it give you a new outlook on the event? Kind of, what did that do for you?
It really made it real because, like a lot of my peers, I was born after 9/11. We were 11/9/01. So you obviously hear the stories, but Professor Kuntz brought it to life, and that was really cool. She made it real. It definitely changed the way I look at it. She's a big newspapers fan. Maybe that's why we get along so well. So she had kept all her newspapers, the New York Times, everything, and she spread them out on the table, and we looked at all the headlines from not only the 11th, but the 12th and the 13th and the 14th, and she had stuff, from a year after, and then when Osama bin Laden had gotten killed. So we saw so many different photos and things that just jogged her memory, and it almost felt like I was there in some sort of way. It made me feel more connected to it and than I've ever felt before.
Yeah, it's having all those pictures and everything right there just makes it so much more vivid and real, huh? So we also had another event honoring 9/11 at Boone Pickens, which was the stair climb. Did either of you get to read on that, look at that, maybe go?
Yeah, I got to see. I wasn't there. I can't claim that, but I did get to see the pictures. And the thing that stuck out to me the most is you maybe expect people to go out there in athletic shorts or tank top or something. But the thing I appreciated the most was seeing the firefighters out there who kind of wanted to be in the footsteps of the men and women who climbed the Twin Towers in 2011. So you got to see them out in full fireman gear, running up and down the stadium in Boone Pickens. I know you've been there plenty of times.
Yes.
We have too. Those stairs are no joke.
No way.
The whole kind of the width of the stairs is a little odd. It's not like stairs you usually encounter. So it was quite the climb from those people, and I think pretty admirable.
Yeah, so next up, we're going to be looking at some other pieces of history that were made this Friday with Burns and Ann Hargis, honoring them with some statues. So we'll have that next up on the Writers' Room.
My name is James Remedy. Fired Up Stilly is the name of the business, and I'm one of the owners. We all three met, the three owners, working as employees at a similar place like this. What I hope for is for everybody to feel welcome, like family. Not only do I want students to feel welcome to come here and study and use our free Wi-Fi, but also I want adults and families to be able to come in. We've built a connection with a lot of people, and Stillwater's a big community, so we just want to invite everybody to be able to eventually make their way through our doors. Well, definitely the teas, I would say. Most people fall in love with them. They just got a great amount of energy, gets you going through your day, and it just kickstarts you to get everything you need to done. For myself, it would just have to be, being the owner, owning something that, is able to impact other people's lives, and, the way we can affect our community is something that I really have always wanted to do. We love our clients and our customers that come through every day, and we enjoy getting to know them.
Well, how I got started was my daughter said, "Mama, why don't we rent a booth at the Quarter Horse Show?" And it was very, very good because, when you're giving your jelly away for free, people really do love it. But when you ask them to pay for it, then that's a true test. What makes my product so unique is the Scotch bonnet pepper. And the Scotch bonnet is the Jamaican pepper. And I had lived in Montego Bay, Jamaica for 4 years. So I learned how to handle the pepper and how to cook with it. I always say, you don't do this on your own. I mean, you have so many people that help you along the way. For me and for many of us, that's my name on that jar, and it better be good.
Welcome back to the Writers' Room. I'm still here with Ben and Sam Hutchins, but now we're going to be looking at our events on Friday honoring the 18th president of OSU, Burns Hargis. So I know you guys both had him as a president your first year here at Oklahoma State. What are some things you think about Burns Hargis? What are some things that stand out as he was president your first year?
Yeah, I just remember coming into OSU and not even knowing who my president was at the time, as a freshman. But by the end of that freshman year, I definitely knew not only of Burns but also of Ann. They kind of felt, like a grandmother kind of figure, someone that's approachable, someone that you feel like is so warm and welcoming. And I think that has kind of permeated through the shrums and everything like that. So yeah, I just remember like an overwhelming kind of feeling of warmth with them.
Yeah,
I remember. I think they did a good job of balancing the serious side that, of course, takes with running an institution like Oklahoma State, and also I remember being at the library lawn at Edmond Lowe and seeing Burns and Ann kind of preside over giving out cookies, and there was a concert on the Edmond Lowe kind of where the fountain is, and they were there. I think a Santa suit may have been involved somehow, so a bright orange Santa suit. So it was interesting to see how they elegantly kind of walked the balance of being the president of the university, having difficult conversations, wearing suits, being in those meetings, and also kind of relating with the students, right? Especially, it's I guess their job to relate to 18-year-old kids, and it was like a great grandma and a great grandpa in that way, where it kind of felt like that, like Ben said, they were approachable, and I think they excelled in that, in kind of bringing students in.
So what do you think makes Burns Hargis so deserving of having this 10-foot statue almost dedicated to him?
Yeah, so I look at the buildings and some of the things that were directly built under Burns' overriding watch, and I think of Boone Pickens Stadium, the one that everyone thinks of course, but you also look at the Spear School of Business, the Greenwood Tennis Center, all these different places, Neil Patterson Stadium, so many things that came to life because of Boone. I thought Larry Reese, the PA announcer who was at the Burns and Ann Hargis statue unveiling, said it perfectly. Boone took OSU from slim pickings to Boone pickings to easy pickings. So I think a lot of that has to do with why Burns is being remembered with a statue.
Yeah.
And I mean, I once again kind of want to go back to their personal side too. They were great at raising money and getting those funds, and that's kind of what you need to do as president. But just the elegance that they had, I already used that word, but I think it's fitting they use it again. Ann Hargis, I think that it just kind of showed what their impact by the amount of people that were at their statue reveal and the important people that were at their statue reveal, donors, coaches at Oklahoma State University, really, and a bunch of students, everyone who'd been impacted by the Hargises. So Burns and Ann, I don't know if they could only have one statue or what, but I think Ann Hargis was definitely deserving of some recognition as well for all she did.
Yeah, she got her Orange Grove garden dedicated to her, and of course she's the mind behind Pete's Pet Posse. I don't know if you guys are involved with that at all, or what have you seen from her that's impacted your life still to this day on campus as far as wellness and mental health goes?
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. You used the term wellness. I mean, I know the garden was out there, the hammock, which I haven't done any research, but Larry said it was the largest hammock in the world. So I know I guess, used the largest hammock in the world, which is kind of a cool thing. But yeah, no, Anna was definitely involved in that. And of course, I see Pete's Pet Posse all around, and the dogs, plenty of them were there on a really hot afternoon on Friday. So it was just a joy to see them. And yeah, I think of that side of Ann.
Awesome. So that was another wonderful segment here with Sam and Ben Hutchins. Next up, we're going to take a look at some cowgirl soccer and history made by one of our very own cowgirls. So that'll be next up on the Writers' Room.
Hi, I'm Shauna here at Where the Buffalo Roam in beautiful downtown Pawnee, Oklahoma. We have a lot of beautiful and unique items for sale in the store, but our number one items are Navajo jewelry, Pendleton blankets, and Consuela. It's a great place to shop, a beautiful downtown, so come see us in Pawnee, Oklahoma.
Pecans are staple to Oklahoma. In fact, many of our native pecans come from trees that are older than Oklahoma statehood.
My father's the one that got us started into the pecan picking. I was probably 10 or 12 years old, and we started off with one little mechanical picker that you pulled behind a four-wheeler. Then we'd go home at night and we'd clean them on a TV tray. I guess watching my dad work hard when we were young, and people started trusting him and getting more and more groves, we just kept growing.
Being a relatively new and fresh company, we get to sit in the same room with people who have been a part of the Oklahoma economy for decades.
It's opened a lot of doors. It's gave us quite a bit of exposure, and I think people, will take a small company like us a little more serious. We're just going to continue growing as long as our community lets us and our customers keep on buying, and we'll see where it takes us.
Welcome back to our next segment on the Writers' Room. So I'm so excited for this next segment because one of my favorite seasons is fall, not just for cowboy football, but also for cowgirl soccer. Now you guys have some history with cowgirl soccer, so why don't you guys tell us about that?
Yeah, we covered cowgirl soccer, both of us did for 2 years, and I tell people it was one of my favorite beats to cover. It was a blast, and you got to be in the beautiful Neil Patterson Stadium. So yeah, it was super fun, and we've been following the team now with, you mentioned fall, but we were waiting for a record to fall, Ben, and it finally happened with Grace Yoakum, who, as some people may know, Oklahoma State's midfielder. So you might not think, oh, she could get a goal record, but she plays up a lot and takes a lot of penalty kicks, free kicks, is kind of a menace around the box. So Grace Yoakum set some history.
She did. 36 goals. That's a lot.
That's insane.
That's a lot, yeah. And I can think of games where I've seen, headers and penalty kicks and shots and in all sorts of different ways she's gotten all those goals. And now she's up to 38. Sammy, was kind of a weird start to the season, though, where Grace Yoakum, the star player on the Cowgirl offense, she had a really slow start, and we were wondering maybe when she was going to get that record, but she finally came through with a 2-goal game against Stephen F. Austin and got it done.
She broke the record from 2 players that you see kind of plastered all around Oklahoma State for being great players in their own right, Jolene Schweitzer and Yolanda Odinho. So now Grace Yoakum, she'll have her name probably up on the big screen at halftime and all that too, being honored for all time as the Cowgirls goal leader. But I've seen that. I think she's a very deserving player of it. The Cowgirls always spoke highly, Coach Colin Carmichael too, of the leader she is and just the ability she has. She plenty of assists and stuff too. So I don't think you break a goal record like that by being selfish and only wanting goals.
Yeah.
So she's had some help. Olivia Dow, a great player to kind of draw some pressure away and some double teams and things like that. I'm sure the first thing Grace Yoakum would say is I couldn't have done it without all those assists and people setting things up for me.
Yeah.
But quite the achievement that won't be matched for some time, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so. It's quite a feat to get 36 goals, at that point in the game, and now 38, as you said. So the Cowgirls are 5-1-1 as of now. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe they're 5-1-1, only with a few games at home. So going into the rest of the season, are you guys going to go check them out as fans there in Neil Patterson? What's that atmosphere like now that you're not a writer anymore for Cowgirl soccer? Do you guys get to go and just enjoy it as fans?
Yeah, of course. We always enjoy going back. We got to check out, I guess, a game, we could call it, what was supposed to be a game for Bedlam when that game got delayed because of lightning and storms. So the one time we do go back, Colin even gave us a hard time. It's like, oh, when the Hutchins twins come back, the game doesn't get played.
Exactly.
So maybe we aren't welcome, but we do enjoy getting to go back and follow that team.
Yeah.
It was a bit of I think the Cowgirls would be the first to tell you, a bit of a disappointing year for them last year. But they had a lot of players come back, and they lost a lot of close games last year, 1-score games, overtime games, and now there's a new rule, as you know, in college soccer, where there's no more overtime in the regular season. It's just 90 minutes and shut it off. So I know the Cowgirls weren't too fond of that.
Yeah.
And I thought, hey, there could be some implications there with so many overtime games last year. But yeah, so now it's 90 minutes. Every single minute matters, especially, and I'm excited to watch the season going forward.
Yeah, and that no overtime hasn't really come into play much this year, except for once. They've only got one tie on them, and it was 0-0. So really tough game for them and a long battle for them too. So going into the rest of the season, do you think the fact that these next 2 games against Mercer and Brown will be at home, do you think they're going to have an easier time playing those games at home with kind of the student and fan interaction there? Do you think that makes it easier for them to outperform the other teams?
Definitely. And Neil Patterson Stadium, some people might not understand, college soccer, what is the atmosphere like there? And it's very impressive, especially at times like a Bedlam game where Cowgirl fans were showing up in droves, and some OU fans. But the Neil Patterson environment, it's a great environment, plenty of fans. It gets quite loud, and like you said, there hasn't been so many home games in a long time. They've been on a East Coast road trip down in Florida, so they're back now. And it's the biggest game on campus with Cowboy football not playing till Saturday. So I'd expect plenty of fans to come check it out.
Yeah. And speaking of Cowboy football, we will be coming back after this short little break to speak more on that with Ben and Sam, as that is one of their favorite topics. So that'll be next up on the Writers' Room.
I'm Kristen Hawkins. I went to Oklahoma State University here in Stillwater in '99 to 2004. I've always felt like Stillwater needed more family-friendly things to do, and we have opened up AR Workshop. We do everything from knitting blankets that can be done in a 3-hour class, and we create doormats and porch signs, the Christmas wreaths with our yarn that we use for the blankets. We also do, we just started a new project for gnomes, and we've done pumpkins during the fall. But our big thing that we do here are interior signs. Our designs are extremely unique too, at our workshop. Customers come in, everything is here for them to do. They create everything. They can be as hands-on as they want. They came in here to relax and have fun, and that they are proud of their project that they've made.
Ace in the Bowl salsa started many, many years ago. I was trying to find a recipe to take to a family gathering, and so I started messing around with different recipes, and I took a little bit from here and a little bit from there, and I came up with a salsa that is truly unique. Ace in the Bowl salsa is an olive oil-based salsa with tomatoes, green chilies, green onions, and black olives. There's no sugar added, it's gluten-free, low calorie, low carb, low fat, low sodium. So it's a very, very, very good alternative to any snack you may want. As of right now, I'm just looking to be in Oklahoma and having a successful business within the state. If my grandkids could ever take it over when they're old enough, that would be my dream.
We are back in the writer's room, and I am so excited to get to this segment with Ben and Sam. We're going to do a little recap of our game against ASU. It was a great victory for the Cowboys, so maybe you guys can give us each a rundown from what you saw and what you noticed in the game.
Good. Okay, I saw flashbacks in the first half of Spencer Sanders. Back to Spencer's freshman year, where he was a little bit more turnover prone, and I was like, okay, is this maybe Spencer Sanders from previous years, or the Spencer Sanders we saw week 1 tear it up against Central Michigan? And I think Spencer got it going in the second half for sure. So that was, I guess, my big takeaway was like, okay, Spencer Sanders, had maybe a window where he could maybe fall back to those similar things he did freshman, sophomore year, where he lost games, but it didn't happen. He rallied, and the Cowboy offense got it done.
I think the biggest thing that I saw was defense playing into offense, right? Because you remember Arizona State was actually leading at the end of the first quarter 3-0, and the Cowboy offense had been minimal. Its effect had been minimal at best, but then Brock Martin, defensive line for Oklahoma State senior, he kind of changed the game when he hit the Arizona State running back in the backfield, caused a fumble at about midfield. And after that, Oklahoma State's offense picked it up. They got a short field, went down and scored a touchdown there, and I think they went touchdown, field goal after that. So I know I talked to Brock Martin after the game, and he said, yeah, their tight end was coming to pull, but my eyes kind of lit up because I knew he couldn't get there. I knew I'd be at the running back first. So Brock Martin made a huge hit, caused a fumble, and really jump-started the offense. And then Oklahoma State kind of pulled away. I think the last 3 quarters were more indicative of Oklahoma State being a top 10 team in the rankings, where they ended up making it a comfortable game for Oklahoma State fans to watch. And
comfortable? There was rain, man. No, that's true.
No comfort there in the rain, huh?
Those fans were not comfortable.
So it was great to hear what you guys had to say. I think now we should take a look at what Mike Gundy had to say after the game.
Tyler made a great decision by coming back and playing college. He could have been I don't know, 5th or 6th round pick. I mean, I don't know. I'm just guessing. But if he continues to work like he is, he's in a good spot right now. He's focused. He's training. He's developing his body, and he's gaining valuable experience. He can jump himself up in the draft and make some really good upfront money. Now, the team's important, but obviously that plays a role too, and he's getting better and better, and his body's developing, right? The male body continues to grow and develop till you're 26 years old. So he's developing, getting bigger and stronger and faster. He made a good decision, and he's been a really good leader for us. It helps when your most experienced and best players play hard and practice hard. Then it's easy for coaches, and that's what he's doing at this point.
So we got to hear from Mike Gundy a little bit about Tyler Lacey there. I know, Sam, you got to actually talk with Tyler Lacey, correct?
Sure, yeah.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about that, what you learned from him?
Well, Tyler, side note, he's probably one of the most fun members of Oklahoma State to talk to. He's bubbling with exuberance. Even after going out on a rainy field and getting hit and hitting people for 60 minutes, he was just full of life after the game. And, so we kind of mentioned what Mike Gundy did about Mike Gundy talking, hey, Tyler Lacey, one of those guys, could have gone to the NFL, maybe be a low-round draft pick. Instead, he came back to Oklahoma State, finished getting his degree, which Tyler Lacey mentioned was of big importance to him and his family. And now Tyler Lacey has become a force at the defensive tackle, playing a little 3 technique for Oklahoma State. The defensive line, I have a story that I just wrote today where they have 3 seniors that are huge on that defensive line with Brock Martin, Brendan Evers, and Tyler Lacey. And the impact that those guys are having, you get the flashy guys, Trace Ford, Colin Oliver coming off the edge, but even guys like Sione Ossie, big number 99, who just turned 26, which is kind of phenomenal age-wise. It just goes to show how many old guys Oklahoma State has on the team. And so those flashy guys, Colin Oliver, Trace Ford, Sione Ossie said young guys like those, they're coming to him for advice on football, on dating, on relationships, just because those guys, the defensive line, they've been there, they've done that. So I think it's really emerging as a big strength for the Cowboys going forward, this veteran defensive line, and Tyler Lacey just one example of that.
Yeah. And then now looking more on the offensive side, Dom Richardson, he had a great game. 37 carries, 131 yards, and 4.9 yards per carry. How does he change the offense's versatility? You know, I think even the second week versus the first week, we were able to do a lot more damage on offense against ASU. How do you think he opens up the offense for the Cowboys?
Yeah, here's the thing about Dom is Mike Gundy said his freshman year, you know, and folks who follow Bishop McGinnis football locally in OKC, they know he runs hard. And you can hear it up in the press box almost, just the physicality with which he runs. Well, this year, he showed a little bit of a new side to his game, and he's a little bit shiftier. Mike Gundy talked Monday about his ability to miss players and to be a little bit more elusive. Sam, maybe that could save his body for later down the season when, you know, running back room that right now is kind of thin on the depth chart. They're going to need Richardson for this whole season, so maybe that'll help him, you know, keep his body in better shape. But yeah, his elusiveness is I think, the biggest new side he's showing so far.
Mike Gundy mentioned at the start of the season, he's like, I've been watching film, and I realized just how difficult it would be to replace Jalen Warren, Oklahoma State's running back last year, because now he's stuck on NFL roster. He's looked great with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Gundy says, I was watching the film, and I realized how many plays where Jalen Warren had nothing that he made something out of it and turned a 0-yard rush into a 5-yard rush. So I think Dominic Richardson is starting to step into that role a little bit. He and Jalen Warren are still friends, and they've been talking with Warren in Pittsburgh for the NFL, and Richardson back here. So Richardson, he's in that lead back role now, and I think he's starting to excel.
Yeah. So that concludes all that we have here today in the writer's room. So thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you guys go find their work on ocali.com. There is so much more stories that they have and so many great things to share with you. And also, I hope you guys join us next week as we will have new guests and new stories to share with you from the Ocali. So that's all we have for you this week. Thank you guys, and hope to see you next week in the writer's room.
My name's Kayla. I've been here since the beginning, so 4 years. Scratch is more focused on farm and mostly made in Oklahoma products, keeping it local. Sustainability is our biggest thing. That's one of the reasons why this place opened.
I've been the chef here at Scratch for 2.5 years. Started here as a line cook. Our food and drinks are a bit separate entities almost inside the restaurant. So the food is now up to 85% of the products we bring in are raised or grown locally. It's all based off of things that I grew up eating in southern Oklahoma, the things my grandparents ate.
Fresh food, clean food, organic food, sustainability, that's all of our thing. From front of house to back of house, we're able to maintain both with freshness. But made in Oklahoma means we get it straight from the farms that are 20, 30 minutes, another little county away. We get it straight from them.
The hopes are when folks drink our water is that they'll drink it for a few days and find out the difference. They'll start feeling better.
everyone. Welcome to the pregame show. My name is Dylan Walker. I'm here with Emma Lightfoot and OSU Professor Sky Cooley. Sky, thank you so much for joining us today. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's truly a pleasure. This is the first time I've gotten to do this, despite the fact I've been here for 5.5 years. So I'm a research professor here in the SMSC. I teach graduate classes, typically research methods. I'm also the co-founder of the MESA Group, which is a research group here on campus, and we do a lot of work with nonprofits. We do a lot of work with military intelligence, and excited to be out here and hanging out with you guys.
Yeah, we're grateful to have you. So, as you guys might notice, we're outside today, out in the tailgates. We got the journalism building right behind us, so we're rocking today. We have a game against University of Arkansas Pine Bluff, excuse me, but we've never played them before, so today's going to be an interesting day. We have played a SWAC team, Grambling State, in 2009, and it was a beatdown. I'm sorry
it wasn't
to say,
even,
but
wasn't even close.
I want to say 56-3. Yeah. How do you guys think that's going to translate today's game?
I mean, kind of similar. Similar. I mean, it's Pine Bluff is. I mean, they scored 76 against, I think it was North American University.
I believe so.
But again, that's a school that.
They scored 76?
Yes, they scored 76 against North American
That's
University.
a lot of points.
So it was a lot of points, but granted, it was against North American University, and it's not. I mean, I had never heard of them before that, honestly.
I want to say they have yet to play any Division I team. I believe they played NAIA and then Lane College, which was also D2.
So I think today is going to be a lot different for them in terms of just matchup and seeing how the competition changes up a little bit, because obviously, you know, OSU is ranked number 8 now in the AP polls, and it's just not something that they've had to face at all recently. So I think it'll look a lot different.
Yeah, I think for me, these kind of games are like, for these kids at Arkansas Pine Bluff, this is like their Super Bowl, right? Like, you know, a lot of these kids are probably wanting to play here at OSU. It's a top 10 team. So, you know, their first quarter is going to be really awesome, I think. It's just a matter of we've got more bodies, we've got way more depth, and eventually that wears a school like this out. But I expect to see like a fun first quarter at least, where they're like really going to be competitive. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I know, I'm excited to see, but one thing that I have heard about Arkansas Pine Bluff that I didn't know is I don't know the right word to say, but basically their marching bands are huge.
Yes.
Their marching band, and it's like, I was talking to some people about this before the show today, and they made a joke saying, you come for the halftime show, you stay for the game. Like, it's not about football there, it's about these bands. And they go all out.
Yeah, but I have here that their marching band has performed in NFL performances, like with the Kansas City Chiefs, the New Orleans Saints, St. Louis Rams. Couple years ago. Like, they're a pretty big deal up in Arkansas. So.
They've got some schools in Louisiana that even, like, they've got some colleges and they've got some high schools that's what the attraction is. It's really the band. It's really more about getting out and doing something, having fun. They've got the team as sort of like that social component rather than really going at it for the
Yeah, and something crazy I've heard is too, sometimes if they're playing against maybe another SWAC team or just another team with a prominent marching band, they will outplay the other team if they don't think they're doing good. They'll just halftime show, whatever.
Wow.
If they don't like what they're doing, they'll just pick it up themselves and they'll take over. And that's bold to me. So I'm curious to see if something like that will happen today.
I know.
But I hope not. Jeez, I hope OSU can show up.
Yeah, it's one of those sort of setup games too. I remember our first game against I can't remember the name of the team, but it was they had won their conference, but was it I can't remember the name, but the offense, you know, they played really well against us. We sort of turned off the gas at the second half and let the team kind of catch up. And so, you know, I'm curious to see if we can be consistent from the whole game with a team like this.
Yes. Me too. And so let's talk maybe a little bit about the game against ASU. So obviously it was a win, but it was a tougher game than against Central Michigan. So we had less opportunity to play maybe our second string and our reserve guys. Today I think we're going to see a lot of them out on the field. How do you think, comparing their performance from our first game to today, how do you think that's going to translate?
Yeah, I think it's going to be kind of similar to how we played with Central Michigan. Like, we're going to have a lot of opportunities to put in some guys that usually don't get a whole lot of playing time. Like, I know Gunner, yes, other Gundy. But Gunner Gundy got to play against Central Michigan, and I think we can definitely expect him to come in this game, just letting Spencer Sanders kind of take a break, just with how the score might end up being. So I don't expect it to be a whole lot of competitiveness after the first quarter like you were talking about. So kind of once that gets out of the way, I think it'll be a lot a lot more second string guys that are not usually getting time to play, but just kind of getting all the kinks out too, just with the starters, and letting them kind of get used to everything before we go into the bye week and then our game against Baylor in the first weekend in October. So I think it'll be fun to watch today.
I'm excited to see the secondary play. I want to see them look sharper. You're going to get thrown on because hopefully you're going to have the lead, so you're going to see some balls in the air. So I'm looking forward to seeing our guys look crisp out there. I think the D-line's really good this year. They look big, they look fast, they look scary. The secondary I haven't seen move as quickly yet, and so let's look for a game where they're sharp. And it is awesome that we've got the bye week going into Baylor, so got maybe a game to work out all the kinks.
I agree.
Got a whole week to kind of look it over, see what it looks like, and then get out there and start the Big 12. So that should be fun.
Speaking of the Baylor game, I think that having this game this week and then going into the bye week is going to be really helpful for us, just because that gives us the actual game and then a whole week of practice to kind of go over everything that we need to really work out and like get all the kinks out before we go into our first conference game. And obviously we have some history against Baylor. I mean, we beat them in conference.
We don't got to talk about it.
So yeah, I mean, we're both coming out for blood this next game. So I'm curious to see kind of if they're ramping up tonight to get ready for that. How do you guys feel?
I would say that for me, I hope that that's the case. I hope that not that you should overlook a game, but having Baylor in the mindset, because next year you're going to have Texas and OU both out into the SEC, and so it's going to be a whole different conference. Who's going to be on top of that conference? We're really making statement wins against teams like Baylor that will carry over into the next season, hopefully. So establishing that conference dominance, as it were.
Yeah, and like you said, the conference dominance, that's going to come into play, whenever OU Texas leaves, like you said.
Sure.
With BYU, Cincinnati, those are really, really strong teams that we're going to have to continue to just build our reputation on, games like today. And, again, just against the ones like Baylor that we have coming up. We're going to have to use those to kind of build our experience in that term, because if we don't now, whenever later on down the road when we get to those tougher games, we're not going to know what to do. So I think it's really good that we have these early on just to kind of get them out of the way.
I like that you mentioned BYU and Cincinnati, the teams that we're adding in. They're good quality teams. The conference doesn't suffer. In the sense that we're still going to have that playoff spot that we're playing for every year. You win this conference, you're in the mix for the playoff. And I think I know they're changing how many teams get in, but our conference will still be strong enough to get that bid. And so I think that's exciting.
I know I'm excited for the future. I think we have a great season ahead of us, and I think we have a great future ahead of us. But unfortunately, our time is up for this segment. We're going to send it over to Carson and Zach with Who Has the Edge. Sky, thank you.
Thank you. Go Pokes.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Who Has the Edge. I'm Zach Berger, joined by Carson Fabian, and today we're going to be talking about games across the country. So first, we're going to start about Georgia versus South Carolina. This game has already taken place. Georgia just dominated, won 48-7. Really didn't see anything fancy from Spencer Rattler, and Georgia just kind of proved why they're that top team in the nation.
Yeah, Georgia just looked so good. Their defense just looked really dominant. Only limiting 7 points. That's just ridiculous stat line. Yeah. Next game that is currently happening right now is BYU versus Oregon, and they're losing 7-38, which is really surprising because BYU coming off that double overtime game against Baylor, I thought they were going to come out here and prove themselves again. And Oregon, after losing to Georgia in that first week, they look like they have something to prove.
Yeah, I think with this being Bo Nix's first year in Oregon, after that first game, kind of getting crushed by Georgia, there was a lot of criticism. So now facing another top-ranked team, this is his chance to prove himself, and I think he's doing just that.
Yeah, exactly. I think Bo Nix is coming out and doing really well today. This next game, also currently happening, is Penn State versus Auburn. Penn State just looks really good. They're having a really dominant run game, 3 rushing touchdowns, and Auburn has 2 first-half turnovers, and I just don't think you can do that against a top-ranked Penn State.
Yeah, when there's 2 teams that are quite similar, one small mistake, and it goes one way.
Exactly.
Next, now we're going to talk about some games that are going to happen later tonight. Let's start with Michigan State, Washington. What do you think about this game?
I think Michigan State's going to come out. They're 2-0, same thing as Washington, but I think Michigan State has something to prove. They're away right now. Their kickoff is at 6:30, and I think that they're just going to come out there and they're going to play really good Spartan football.
Yeah, I mean, I really like this game. These two seem very well matched for each other. Both of them seem to have something to prove. Washington's looking to get ranked. They're 2-0, and Michigan State wants to prove that they're a contender. Both haven't really played great teams so far, so they're in Husky territory. I'll be interested to see what happens.
Yes. This next game is Miami versus Texas A&M. Now, we all know what happened last week. Miami won, but the bigger story is Texas A&M.
Yeah.
Playing at home and losing to Appalachian State, that was just embarrassing for them.
Yeah, it was rough. And with the result of that, Haynes King is now being benched. Max Johnson getting his first start as an Aggie. They're still in Aggie land. 12th man still available, but I don't know. I don't see the U losing in this one.
I think A&M comes back, and they're at home. They want something to prove, and I think they're just going to come out there and play that Aggie football that we all know and love in the SEC and just be really dominant today.
Yeah.
But
Go ahead.
another game is Ohio State versus Toledo. Kickoff is at 6 o'clock. I think Ohio State's going to come out there and do their thing again.
Yeah, I mean, this is Ohio State's game to win, and I think they just want to keep moving up, get to that 2 spot, maybe eventually get to that 1 spot.
Exactly. Another game that happened today, and it's already over, was Michigan versus UConn, 59-0.
Yeah.
That just looked like really good Michigan football.
Yeah, I mean, this is the last week before a lot of conference play starts. Some of the top teams aren't playing the best teams, and you just need to be consistent. And I think that's what we saw from Michigan, just consistency.
Yeah.
And then one more that I want to talk about that's coming up is Arkansas versus Missouri State. What do you think about that?
I think Arkansas is going to come out there again. They're looking to get another third win before the conference play. Start 3-0 before the conference play starts, and I just think that Arkansas is going to do really good again today.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree. I think Arkansas, they're top 10 right now, and I think they just want to keep proving themselves like these other big schools. So come out, get a good showing against Missouri State, and really settle into it.
Right. Well, that wraps up the games from earlier today. We're going to send it down to Connor, who is live at Boone Pickens Stadium. Connor?
I tried to grab it, and then I was like, never mind. That was funny.
I'm going to hold on to your seat.
Okay, well, thank you guys for that. We're back at the pregame show at the outside desk, but before we get into commercial break, coming up, we're going to talk about the defense and a little bit about what OSU has going on, a little bit about what Arkansas Pine Bluff has going on. So be sure to come back in to the show for that.
Over the years, we kind of realized that you can get ribs anywhere, you can get a steak anywhere, but you can't always get a Mountain View hot link like ours. So we really decided to focus on that niche and realized we had something really special. So that's when we started focusing more on the hot links, but it's still the same family recipe they were making all those years ago. For us, many of our people that work here have been with us for years and decades. So whereas machines kind of break down over time, the people just get better. And it shows in the products we produce. When you buy a Mountain View product, not only is it gonna taste dynamite, but you're also feeding Oklahomans. You're helping employ Oklahomans, and you're helping to fund the state's economy. So what's better than that?
We use the very best of the best ingredients. Demerara sugar is the best that is. Very high quality fruits, berries. The milk we use is the best milk there is. That's why it makes our product stand by itself. I like to make yogurt because I like to eat yogurt. We've been doing this for ourselves for many years because it's a tradition in our family. And we want to have a product which would be very similar to French yogurt, but with our touch of uniqueness, linking our name, our products, with the reputation of the Made in Oklahoma Coalition was probably the best thing we have done as far as promoting our product.
we're going to be breaking down the OSU defense. But before we get into that, Emma, do we have a special guest we want to introduce?
So this is my dad, everyone, Stephen Lightfoot.
Hello, glad to be here.
Thank you for joining
Welcome
us.
on the show.
Yes.
So we're just going to talk a little bit about your game day traditions to start off. I know you're more of an NFL guy than a college football guy. Kind of crazy, but tell us a little bit about what your game days look like on a typical day.
Usually it involves three things. The three F's.
Okay,
family.
the three F's.
You got family first, right?
Okay, yeah.
Of course.
You got friends.
Right, right.
And you got queso.
That's okay.
That doesn't start with that.
That
but
doesn't
food, but really, if you don't
mainly
have,
queso.
If you don't have
Mainly queso.
then
Yeah,
just,
it's not.
You know,
yeah,
it's not a thing.
Not
so
a game day.
everything else is okay as long as you have queso. So
that makes sense.
That makes everything better.
Yeah.
But really,
sure.
it's just it usually depends on the opponent, really, of kind of what it looks like. Sometimes I'm just me and the boys watching the game. Sometimes it's a large gathering. But I tell you, when I come out here in this environment, I never really have had that tailgating experience. So I love the excitement around that. I think it's probably because I have like 3 friends is probably why I've never taken part of that.
That's okay. It's okay.
I'm kind of an introvert, honestly.
Here you are.
But
Yeah, fine. Look at you out here doing this. Yeah.
I've been trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up.
Okay.
Maybe
Hey, it takes time.
Hey,
It takes time.
I mean,
so
this is a good place to start.
But yeah, if I need to fill some time, I'm not ashamed to admit I'm 47 years old and I still play Madden. So if we still got an hour to kick off and I'm at home and I'm a little bored, I'll fire it up.
Okay.
No
and
worries.
then on Madden, do you play with the teams that are playing that you're gonna watch, or do you just like?
I have done that many times.
Okay.
I have done that many times.
Okay.
I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan on Sundays, so I usually pick that opponent and just
See
get
how it
out some
plays out.
nervousness there.
Okay.
But yeah, it's fun.
Well, there you go.
I like to cook. Obviously, if we're having lots of people over, throw a brisket on the smoker or some ribs or something.
That sounds so good.
It's so good.
Oh, wow.
It's so good.
So
good.
I enjoy doing that. I enjoy entertaining when we have
With
large
your
gatherings.
3
We have
friends?
usually large. Yeah, my 3 friends.
Don't be mean. Don't be mean.
Luckily, we have a large family that all likes to get together and watch football. So
That's
we
awesome.
do that a lot, and it's always a good time. But yeah, I did miss out on this experience when I was in college because I went to a junior college and played baseball, and then I got married. And I supported my wife while she was going through school. So, I never really got into this atmosphere, but obviously I love football, and just being here is the environment is awesome, and just glad to just hearing the band in the background.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so cool. You just don't get that anywhere else.
Exactly. And I think that's why, today's a sold-out game, and it's against Arkansas Pine Bluff. You wouldn't really see that anywhere else except for an environment like this. And I think that's why, half the people have come today is just for that environment, like the tailgating, the band, like we talked about the marching bands at halftime. They're really good. So it's a lot of people come a long ways to see stuff like that and get that experience that you talked about. So.
Yeah, I mean, I love Friday Night Lights. I love going to high school football games. But this is like that times 10. So
totally.
It's just a really cool experience. Anytime I get to do it, I love to come out and enjoy a game.
Well, something special I think about OSU too is obviously on campus we have the phrase "we all bleed orange," basically. But I think if you walk around the tailgates, I got the chance to do this last year for the pregame show. Actually, there are people coming back that graduated maybe over 50 years ago, and they come back. They're here every home game. They're here every weekend they can be because they love OSU that much. And I think that's something that just makes it so special because even though, like you said, it's Arkansas Pine Bluff, no one's expecting this to be the primetime game of the weekend. But I mean, we're here and we're here for the Cowboys and we're here to cheer them on. With that being said, it is Dad's parents' weekend on campus, so I mean, that brought out some extra stragglers. But I mean, still, at the end of the day, we're here to watch some Cowboy football, so it's better than that.
It'll be fun either way.
Yeah, and I think it'll be cool to see, with Dad's Day, all the dads out there, whether they went to OSU or not, just supporting, seeing how it goes. So
if it makes you feel any better, I have to admit my dad wasn't an OSU fan either until I came here.
Yeah.
So I mean, it takes some time.
Hey, I was looking for a school to root for, and this
this
makes
is
perfect
it.
sense
It
now.
works.
I
It
love
works.
it. So, yeah.
Yeah. So why not the Cowboys? I mean, come on, look at us.
Look at us.
But yeah, do you have any thoughts on the team, on the season so far, on anything in the future?
Well, all I know is I know they're playing Arkansas Pine Bluff today, and I kind of have a rule of thumb. When you look at the schedule and you can't automatically call out the other team's mascot, like you don't know what it is, it's probably going to be a W for your team that day.
A W for your team.
So,
yeah,
That's a good
but
rule of thumb.
I
Never
do
thought
know
about that
they're
one
the
before.
Golden Lions. I did figure that out.
Okay.
And
Golden Lions.
you know, I'll go ahead and give you my score prediction
Yeah,
because
let's hear it.
I have a narrative for you.
Okay.
Okay, I've thought this through.
Okay.
So last week, Arkansas Pine Bluff won 76-3.
Yes, they did.
Okay.
They did.
I don't remember the school.
North American University.
North American University. Pretty generic. No offense to anybody from North American
No,
University.
no offense.
But nobody likes a bully, and I think OSU might take offense to that a little bit.
Yeah.
And my prediction is going to be OSU 77-3.
Oh, outshining them a little bit. Okay.
Just
You're
to
one up
stick it
and
to
up.
'em a
Oh,
little bit.
wow. Okay.
Just to let them know how it feels. You know, this is what happens when you
When you
bully
do that to
somebody
other
else.
teams.
So
Yeah.
that's my prediction.
Okay.
77-3.
Do you
I hope
think?
it works out.
Do you think maybe they kind of set themselves up for this game? I mean, they have yet to play a D1 team. Do you kind of think that was a mistake coming in and now playing OSU, or do you think they're just gonna come and they're gonna roll with it?
I think they're probably in for.
Beat
They
down?
know they're in for a long day. They just don't probably know, exactly how rough it might get. But it might not be 77-3. But I do expect the Cowboys to roll today.
Come out.
Pretty,
Yeah.
pretty tough. One thing about having Baylor on the schedule next, I think it's good to have a bye week before
Yes.
Baylor because,
Agreed.
it helps you not look ahead as much. I think when you have that extra week to prepare. So I think they'll come out, have a lot of fun today, and just roll. Yeah. I really do.
I think so too. I think this will be a great time to get everyone involved and kind of get the rah-rah back in the OSU stadium. Yeah, we get to see a lot of guys that didn't play last week play tonight probably. So
That's always fun.
It's going to be good, yeah.
And do y'all want to break down the defense a little bit before we go?
Yeah, we can do just kind of brief run through.
Perfect. So, obviously, like we said, last game, Arkansas Pine Bluff scored 76 points, held the other team to 3, which I don't know how much that is saying based off of their opponent, but they allow, on average, they're allowing 22.5 points and then 343 yards per game. So that's not anything out of the water. I mean, I feel like it's pretty run-of-the-mill, average numbers. So I don't know. I think just based on their opponent so far, it's not really anything special.
Yeah.
It says OSU, we've allowed 30.5 points and then 450 yards a game. That seems like a lot off the top of your head, but looking at our opponents versus who Pine Bluff has played, it's a little bit of a difference.
There's a difference.
So.
Yeah, there's a gap for sure. But I know some key people we took some notes on was Brock Martin and Colin Oliver. Obviously, they've been standouts last season and this season so far. But some other people I think that we should really look out for are Jabbar Muhammad and Jason Taylor. They're well known. I mean, they've played in all the games so far, but I think that they're maybe just a little bit newer to the scene. They're a little bit newer to the kind of the face of OSU defense, and so I think that they're going to be two guys to really look out for. I know Jabbar had 3 tackles in the game against ASU, 1 solo and 2 assists. And total, he's had 7 tackles, 4 solo, and 4 assists. That's just throughout the season so far. And then same with Jason Taylor. He's had 7 tackles in just the last game, with 6 of them being solo stops.
That's awesome.
And 16 throughout the whole season. So I think that these guys are going to be really prominent at the game today, and I think that they're going to kind of show up and kind of show out. You know?
And same with Mason Cobb. I mean, he leads the team with 20 tackles in 2 games. That's another guy to look out for. That's insane. So it'll be cool to see how they perform tonight.
I'm excited too. I think we got a great game ahead of us, but we're gonna send it over to Carson and Zach once again for who has the edge on defense.
To Who Has the Edge. So last segment we talked about the big games around the country. Now let's talk about the Big 12 itself. And I want to start with OU versus Nebraska. Now the score of this game was 49-14 and OU just looked dominant.
Right, OU did look really good. Nebraska's new head coach, Mickey Joseph, was coming out to look look for a win in this historic matchup, and OU just showed why they're ranked 6.
Yeah. And then next we have Baylor, Texas State. Baylor won this game 42-7. I mean, just easy win, dominated. Wanted to prove themselves after that overtime loss to BYU, and I think they did that.
Yeah, exactly. They just came out and they played Baylor football, and it looked really well, looked really solid, looked like they could come back and compete with the Big 12.
Yeah.
Next game is Townsend versus West Virginia. This is West Virginia's first win of the season, winning 65-7. And there's just really nothing much to it. They came back, and now they're 1-2 on the season.
Finally got in that win column.
Exactly. Finally got it.
Next, Iowa State versus Ohio. They won 43-10. Iowa State's now 3-0.
Yeah.
They might be a little sneaky.
Yeah, there's definitely a sneaky Big 12 pick. Hunter Deckers threw for 3 touchdowns, which is really impressive. Iowa State came back. The Cyclones, they're 3-0. That's a really hot start before Big 12 conference play starts.
Yeah. And then the next game kind of shocked me. Tulane versus Kansas State. Tulane pulled out that win 17-10.
Yeah. Tulane, just really surprising everybody. Kansas State, I thought that they were going to come out there and, just beat Tulane, but Tulane threw 2 interceptions and still came out on top, which was really surprising on that Kansas State defense.
Yeah, that's crazy. Next, the last game that's already happened, or is actually currently happening, is Kansas versus U of H. And Kansas is winning 21-14. The 3-0 Kansas. Kansas is still undefeated. I don't know how, and they're beating U of H.
Exactly. I am so excited for Kansas this year. I'm big on Kansas. This is the future Big 12 matchup as well. This is not just some old non-conference game, but this is a future matchup that we're currently looking at.
And U of H losing in a heartbreaker last week in 2 overtimes to Texas Tech, and now just can't get things rolling versus Kansas.
Nope. Speaking of Texas Tech Tech versus NC State, who's ranked 16, is kickoff at 6.
Yeah. I said the 2 overtime win versus U of H, and when you're barely squeaking something out versus unranked, or I think they were 24th ranked at the time, U of H, NC State's a really sound offense, really sound team. I like Devin Leary. I don't see Texas Tech winning this game.
Either do I. I think NC State's going to come out there and win. Last game is UTSA versus Texas, who is ranked 21, even though they lost to Alabama. This is their first time ever meeting, which is a long-awaited game.
Yeah, Edwards is out now, and we're still waiting for Card to see how he's going to handle that ankle. Got hurt on the first play, kept going, so semi-hurt ankle. Listen, UTSA goes out and competes. So what do you think?
I think this is going to be a really close game, but I think Texas at home is just going to squeak it out, especially after that impressive performance against Alabama. I think they're just going to come out and, really play Texas football like we know them, like they know how to.
You know what? I'm going to call it. I think they go to the 3rd string. I think UTSA pulls it out. I'm going to say it.
That would shock everybody. But that wraps up the slate of Big 12 games that are to happen. Next time you see us, we're going to be talking about the current game, Oklahoma State versus Arkansas Pine Bluff. We're going to send it down to Jonna at Boone Pickens Stadium. Jonna?
Hey guys, we're here live outside of the Boone Pickens Stadium. I'm here with Jeremy Greenfield. Jeremy, what are you doing here today?
Well, I'm a proud OSU alum and season ticket holder, so I'm here to root on the Cowboys for another victory.
Nice. So, you're an alumni, right? What are you doing now that you've graduated OSU?
Yeah, great question. So, I helped start a company called Popple, which is the fastest way to share anything. So, when you meet someone, you can just tap any of our devices to their phone, and it'll instantly share your information, whether that's a phone number, Instagram, TikTok, whatever you want. You can just share it with a tap. So I have it set to my Instagram. It'll go straight to my Instagram.
That's awesome. Where did the inspiration come for this company?
Yeah, it actually came from my partners, Jason and Nick. We're based in Los Angeles, and then I helped tighten up the idea, and then we launched.
That's so awesome. Do you have any merch that you would like to show off or that we could buy somewhere?
Of course, yeah.
Apple. Can we get a close-in?
You can buy us at Target, Walmart, Best Buy, Staples. We are available all over.
That is so awesome. So what are your game predictions here today for this game?
I mean, I see a Cowboy victory. I'm thinking 42-7. Like, let's just get it. I have no doubts. I'm confident in the Cowboys.
That is very bold.
We didn't get dressed up for nothing, right?
Right. America's brightest orange, right?
Happiest color there is.
Oh yeah. So who are you here with today?
So I brought my family. I'm here with my mom and my little brother who's a senior at OSU. He's an SAE, so shout out to Sigma Alpha Epsilon. And we're just, it's game days in Stillwater are special. Like, I don't know if the camera can pan around, but all of these people make an environment that's very unique, and it's special to be a part of.
Awesome.
Hey, good to see you.
Well, thank you so much, Jeremy.
Thank you for having me.
We'll see you guys in a little bit.
Go Pokes.
All right, everyone, we're about to send commercial, but before we do that, be sure to come back to the pregame show because we're going to talk some offense. So, come back.
My name's Kayla. I've been here since the beginning, so 4 years. Scratch is more focused on farm and mostly made in Oklahoma products, keeping it local. Sustainability is our biggest thing. That's one of the reasons why this place opened.
I've been the chef here at Scratch for 2.5 years. Started here as a line cook. Our food and drinks are a bit separate entities almost inside the restaurant. So the food is now up to 85% of the products we bring in are raised or grown locally. It's all based off of things that I grew up eating in southern Oklahoma, the things my grandparents ate.
Fresh food, clean food, organic food, sustainability, that's all of our thing. From front of house to back of house, we're able to maintain both with freshness. But made in Oklahoma means we get it straight from the farms that are 20, 30 minutes, another little county away. We get it straight from them.
We would design something, it would sit on the counter, and people was either, if enough of them said, you know, this isn't it never made to the line. Dad was excited that they're all original. They were all designed on Mom's kitchen table, and it gets in your blood after a while.
We're very happy that Pamela and Michael have taken over the business and kept the family going.
We took the business over in 2017. When we found that it was available, we wanted to keep the legacy of family alive, but it was also incredible products that deserved to be a part of Made in Oklahoma's story. We were a part of Made in Oklahoma years ago, and so it kind of grew as Made in Oklahoma grew.
Oklahoma is ingrained into everything that we did. We've been here most of our life. That's what we entailed our whole business on, was the Oklahoma homegrown feeling.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the pregame show. This segment is going to be focused on mainly the offense, but a little bit of everything. Emma, before we get into this, I have a special guest myself. My dad, Tim Walker, is going to be talking with us today. So, do you want to start it off? I started off the last two, so you give us one.
Sure. I mean, we can go ahead and start breaking down the offense. So, our Cowboys are averaging 161 yards per game so far on the ground. So that's really solid, honestly.
Yeah.
Just through 2 games already with Dominic Richardson. He's a solid running back. Has proven that to us 2 games in a row now. I'm expecting him to come out tonight and really, hit the ground running, literally, and just kind of come out the gates like holding nothing back and showing everyone what he's made of. And again, with Arkansas Pine Bluff coming off of their past 2 matchups, it's kind of, they don't really know kind of how to defend against that kind of stuff, I feel like. So once they see that, it's going to be kind of like a wake-up call of like, oh my gosh, this is
we gotta get it
a number 8 ranked team. Like, we're actually doing this right now, So I think it'll come out today just right off the bat on the field. And we have a couple other key players to watch. And Braden Johnson, he's averaging, he has a total of 214 yards in 2 games already. That's also just insane numbers. Brendan Presley, he hasn't been targeted a whole lot yet, I don't think, but he's been consistent. A good guy that Sanders can look for with 106 yards on the season so far. And then we have Bryson Green, who's also kind of in the same boat as Brendan Presley. Not like wide receiver 1, but he's definitely a guy that Sanders can look for in those key downs to really be able to depend on and know that, like, okay, I can throw it to this guy and he's going to be able to catch it.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on offense? Some players?
So I want to see the Pokes come out today and establish the run.
Yes.
Dylan mentioned earlier in the segment that I was not an Oklahoma State fan. I'm a huge Oklahoma State fan. I don't know what she's talking about. Barry Sanders and Thurman Thomas were 2 of my favorite college football players and NFL football players ever.
There you go.
And this school has a history of phenomenal running backs. So let's come out today. Let's establish the run. Let's open it up with the passing game, and then let Spinders open it up even further with his running game. So that's what I'd love to see today. Be a great foundation for going into the Baylor week. So.
I think something too that we're gonna get to see is a lot of those reserves and the second strings coming out. I mean, I think that we do have a lot of great guys kind of in our starting lineup, but I don't know how great they're gonna be able to play today necessarily. You know, it's kind of tough when you come out and you play a team that's not necessarily on par with your athletic skill and your just technical skills in general. So I don't know necessarily how many standout plays anyone's gonna have today, but I do think it'll be interesting more so to see kind of how Gunnar Gundy plays today. We're hoping to see a lot out of him, and I know I believe he's just played in the game against Central Michigan. I don't think he saw a field in Arizona State, but he never passed the ball once. It was always a handoff. So I'm curious to see kind of how that's going to go today. What do you guys anticipate to see out of them?
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see if we do like break out away from them as early as we're supposed to. I think that he'll get a lot more opportunities to kind of see what he can do on the field, what he can do passing wise, not just handoffs, because obviously I'm not going to say anyone can do that, but it's a lot more simple of just handing off the ball and letting the running back do the work. So I think it'll be cool to see him get his chance today and show everyone what he can actually do as the backup, because that's not a position that's really looked at a whole lot, but if anything at all happens to Sanders, like, he's in there, you know, and he's got to be ready. So it'll be cool to see a glimpse of what he can actually do through the air this game, I think, instead of just handoffs. But I don't know, it'll be something really cool to watch for, I think, and I'm excited. I think Braylon will get a good opportunity to get in there with some maybe punt returns, kick returns, something like that.
Awesome.
A lot of people really like him this year, so it'll be cool to see if he gets a couple of plays too.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see Gunnar come in and play, but you know what I'm really excited for is for Spencer Sanders to come out and put the throttle down and not take his foot off it, right? Just come out, establish the run, establish the pass, and then exercise his running ability on these guys. And then if they decide to put Gunnar in, great. But let's great teams don't play down to their competition. Great teams put the throttle down and they don't take
Show them what they're
off.
made of.
So let's see the Pokes do it today, huh?
Hey, you know,
I can see it.
I had to hold my tongue about Spencer Sanders a little bit now. I maybe didn't say the best things about him show 1, but I took my words back show 2 tonight. I'm gonna kind of play a little bit more neutral. I think that he's been performing fine. I think he's done well, but I don't think he's, like we said, I don't think anything exceptional is gonna happen unless he goes out there and scores 30 points, maybe more. But you know, you never know what's gonna happen tonight. We don't have that tough of a competition as we think. So I'm excited to see what he does and kind of how the rest of the team works out with him.
Yeah, and like you were saying, like, his run game is something that he's depended on so heavily so far. And I think with how Pine Bluff's defensive line is, I think he'll definitely have a lot of opportunities to get through those holes that our offensive line's able to make and just create, you know, a path for him to get where he needs to go just on the ground instead of passing it to, you know, like some of the guys we were talking about, like Braden Johnson. Like, I think he will get some good opportunities to make some big plays this game, but I do think that Sanders is going to kind of take it into his own hands and be like, once again, like, show us what he can do, like he did in Central Michigan. Like, he came out, didn't hold anything back, and I kind of expect him to do the same thing here, just maybe with a shorter amount of time, since he might get taken out early. But I do see him definitely, like you were saying, like, coming out full throttle, like, holding nothing back right out the gate. So
I really want to see some good decision making out of him today, right? You know, so look, this is going to be a great game, but let's be real. 2 weeks from now we play Baylor, right? Let's work on decision making, right? Let's really establish that run, open up the passing, and then go.
Yes. Okay, so before we head to commercial before we send it to Who Has the Edge, excuse me, I got a couple more fun questions for you.
All right.
Before we send it, you have to tell me, based off what we know right now, final score prediction.
64-13, Pokes.
64-13.
Okay, he
was
on that one.
So we had a 77-3 and then 64-13.
Okay.
All right.
So any last little things you want to talk about? Anything quick? Are you excited to be at the game today?
Of course I'm excited. It's great. It's great to be here. I want to see the running game dominate.
All right.
I think we're gonna come out. I think we might prove you right.
Yeah.
I hope we do.
I'm hoping we do,
awesome.
but I'm also betting on it. I think it'll be cool to watch everyone kind of not hold anything back, just because they don't have anything to lose. I mean,
I know. Seriously.
it'll be interesting, but I think it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Fun to watch for sure.
Okay, well, Dad, thank you again for joining us today. You had some great intel for me and Emma, and also just some good points. But
thanks for having me.
we're gonna go send it over once again to Zach and Karsten with Who Has the Edge on offense.
Welcome back to Who Has the Edge. And for our final segment, we'll be talking about the game itself, Oklahoma State versus Arkansas Pine Bluff.
Finally.
Yes. So the line for this game is 54.5 for Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I know Arkansas Pine Bluff is an FCS school, but that's a lot.
That's a lot of points. That is a absurd amount of points.
Yeah. So the line 54.5 Oklahoma State, and the over under is 62.5. Personally, I think we'll have the under, and I'm not too sure if we'll cover the line.
I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one, Zach.
But for some history of these type of matchups, now Oklahoma State has never played Arkansas Pine Bluff, but Mike Gundy with his Pokes is a perfect 13-0 when playing FCS teams. And the last time OSU played a team from the SWAC was in 2009, Grambling State versus Grambling State, and we won 56-6. So we have good history versus teams like Arkansas Pine Bluff. And Arkansas Pine Bluff themselves has played two NAIA teams so far this season, beating Lane 48-42 and North American 76-3.
Yeah, those are incredible scores. And I think the game for this week, there's really two players that we need to look out for Arkansas Pine Bluff is Skylar Perry, a fifth-year quarterback who on the season is throwing for 434 yards and 3 touchdowns, which is really good stat line, and sophomore running back Kavion Britton, who's running for 259 yards and 4 touchdowns on the season. I think those guys could make our defense, a little worrisome, but I don't think it's too much considering they've only played NIA teams. So the two players I think are going to make a really explosive jump for our offense today is Spencer Sanders, our quarterback, who's passing for 674 yards with 6 touchdowns, and who's rushing for 111 yards and 3 touchdowns. I think he's going to have another phenomenal game today like he did in week 1. And another player to look out for is Braden Johnson, our wide receiver who has 10 receptions, 214 yards, and 1 touchdown. I think he has another breakout game today. And I think those two are just going to really, connect on the dots with each other.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good game for them to really test what this offense and defense can do for us, especially going into Baylor in a week or two.
Right.
On defense, I'm excited to see guys like Tyler Lacey really continue to shine. Guys like Brock Martin, Colin Oliver, just see this defense maybe fix up a couple miscues, but really shine.
Yeah.
And those stats are very impressive for guys like Skylar Perry and the Arkansas Pine Bluff team. But like we have said, those are against NAIA teams. So how will they really do against Oklahoma State?
Exactly. I just think today is a really great game to work out those final kinks and to really get ready for conference play when we play Baylor in 2 weeks. So today is Parents Weekend on campus.
Yes, it is.
Oklahoma State has officially sold out today's game, which I think is going to make Boone Pickens just rocking. Pistol's going to be firing. Zach, what are your final score predictions for today?
Final score predictions. I'd love to say 60 points like they did out there, but I just don't know if we're going to be able to finish like that, especially looking back at Central Michigan.
Right.
I think it'll be a cool 42-13. We'll get the stuff done, get some guys some playing time at the end. So 42-13.
Yeah, Zach, I'm going to have to go really close to you. It's 49-10. I think, we'll do really good today. Our offense will be firing. Our defense will, eventually allow up a touchdown when we put our backups in. We'll put, our second, third string practice squad kind of guys in. And they'll allow some yards. They'll allow a touchdown, but nothing too concerning.
Yeah.
So you heard it from here, 49-10.
And 42-13.
And that's it from us. Thank you for listening to us. We're going to send it out to Jonah, who is at Boone Pickens Stadium live with some tailgaters. Jonah?
Favorite part of the game? This is Okali. Guys, we're here at the entrance of the Boone Pickens. Guys, what is your score predictions for today's game?
I think it's going to be 7-42 Oklahoma State.
Yes.
I feel like it'll be like 54-20 Oklahoma State.
You guys have any game predictions?
I do. Deserve this win today.
Mom, do you have any?
He said. What he said.
He said, oh, that's a perfect answer. So what are you guys' role here at Oklahoma State University?
We're freshmen here at OSU. We're both involved in Greek life. We're also on the Oklahoma State State all-girl cheer team.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. What's your favorite part about game day?
My favorite part is probably just getting with all my friends and dressing up and taking cute pictures.
Awesome.
What she said and the energy.
Oh, yes, the energy. The energy is unmatched here. Well, thank you guys so much for allowing me to have you here, and I hope you guys are enjoying Parents Week, Family Week. Yes.
All right, thanks again for that. But we're going to send it to commercial. But before we do, be sure to stay tuned for the final segment. We'll be talking some banger bust, and we'll be talking just a little bit more Big 12 matchups. So be sure to come back after the break and stay tuned for more.
My name is James Remedy. Fired Up Stilly is the name of the business, and I'm one of the owners. We all three met, the three owners, working as employees at a similar place like this. What I hope for is for everybody to feel welcome, like family. Not only do I want students to feel welcome to come here and study and use our free Wi-Fi, but also I want adults and families to be able to come in. We've built a connection with a lot of people, and Stillwater's a big community, so we just want to invite everybody to be able to eventually make their way through our doors. Well, definitely the teas, I would say. Most people fall in love with them. They just got a great amount of energy, gets you going through your day, and it just kickstarts you to get, everything you need to done. For myself, it would just have to be, being the owner, owning something that, is able to impact other people's lives, and, the way we can affect our community is something that I really have always wanted to do. We love our clients and our customers that come through every day, and we enjoy getting to know them.
Hi, I'm Shauna here at Where the Buffalo Roam in beautiful downtown Pawnee, Oklahoma. We have a lot of beautiful and unique items for sale in the store, but our number one items are Navajo jewelry, Pendleton blankets, and Consuela. It's a great place to shop, a beautiful downtown, so come see us in Pawnee, Oklahoma.
All right, everyone, thanks for coming back to the final segment of the pregame show. We got a lot of fun stuff to talk about in this one. So, Emma, what do you want to start with? We got a lot to cover. We got some Big 12 matchups, banger buzz, kind of what do you...
We can go ahead and run through the Big 12 matchups. I think there's a couple key ones we can break down a little bit before we get into the banger bust.
Go ahead and start us off.
Yeah, so earlier today we had OU Nebraska in Nebraska. One of my friends actually drove up there like last night, 9-hour drive.
Oh, wow.
It was like, could not do that. Goes to OSU. Like, you chose the wrong school. But anyways, OU won 49-14. So what do you think? What's your takeaway on that?
Okay, so honestly, I didn't know too much about the OU Nebraska history just recently until last year. Actually, I went to Norman for their game. I think it was the first time they'd played. I want to say, and I don't know exactly. I want to say over a decade. That could be completely wrong, but it's been a long time. And growing up, I would hear about this nasty rivalry between the two teams, and I think obviously OU has remained one of the strongest teams in college football. Nebraska has struggled a little bit, and I know that they just recently let go of their head coach because it just wasn't working out. But I think that's something that's an exciting game for a lot of fans. I don't necessarily know how good of a game or how competitive of a game it is, but I think it's a lot of history behind that game, so I think it's something that people really get excited for.
And like we were talking about like today's game, like a lot of people are showing up for the experience. I feel
exactly.
That kind of might have been how that game went down.
Exactly.
It is a big rivalry. It is a lot of history with those two teams. So I think a lot of people showed up for that kind of aspect of it. But the game itself, I don't think was anything
crazy,
special to look out for or anything like that. So not really an unexpected score there. I wouldn't say. I was expecting OU to win pretty by a pretty big margin. So, what about Baylor and Texas State? What do you think about that one? Baylor won 42-7.
Well, the score kind of tells you how that game goes. I mean, I don't follow Texas State. I could not tell you much about that school. I mean, I've heard of it, but the football program there is nothing that has ever caught my eye. Obviously, OSU has a extremely nasty rivalry with Baylor just occurring in the past year. You know, we did not come out on top between those two teams, unfortunately, but I think Baylor is a great team, and I think they're a force to be reckoned with, obviously. I mean, they've shown up in all their games against us, all their Big 12 games, and then today they put the smack down on Texas State.
Yes.
So I think I didn't expect them to lose. Is the end of the story, but I couldn't tell you too much about the actual game.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't follow Texas State either. I do follow Baylor a little bit more.
Yeah.
Obviously I follow OSU the most.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Not OU.
Please
but
no. Please no.
No. But yeah, again, kind of similar story with OU Nebraska. I don't think anyone was really expecting the outcome to be any different than it was. So
talk about another smackdown though. West Virginia versus Townsend.
Yeah.
65-7.
Yeah.
Once again, this must be the weekend of big winning margins because like that's a over 50 point. Oh, not almost a 50 point spread. Like
that's a big one. That's
like,
insane. Yeah, and I know West Virginia didn't do. Do you remember who they played last week?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't remember.
I know it wasn't a great performance on their part, so I think for them coming out and having that 65-7 win against a smaller school, I think it's probably a good reset point for them of just like starting things over. I don't have them super high ranked in the Big 12 right now, so it's like not anything super crazy, but like I said, it was a smaller school, so it's like, you know, something not, again, like the other two games like we talked about, something that wasn't totally unexpected.
There's some huge games this weekend, of course, but I feel like this is more kind of the final weekend to really prepare for season. I know, like, obviously we are taking advantage of this lower competitive level team this weekend just because we need to work out those kinks, and I feel like that's kind of something just based off the matchups that we have going on this weekend. I feel like that's what kind of a lot of teams are doing, and they're just really trying to work everything out so that they can be on their best game by time conference swings around. And so I think that's last weekend was a weekend of upsets, you know, like that was a crazy weekend. And so more this weekend, we're kind of just more in the neutral zone. I mean, everyone's pretty comfortable and kind of expecting an outcome, but it's more just kind of to prepare before it really starts ramping up, you know?
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think obviously a lot of the games leading up now, like getting closer to conference play, are a lot less competitive just because, you know, those bigger schools are going to be paying those smaller schools to come literally just so they can work the kinks out before they get to those more important matchups that they have coming later in the season when it does come to conference play. So I think, again, just a lot of those matchups are just going to be pretty straightforward, kind of a given, like we're hoping today is with OSU.
Yeah.
So
please.
I don't know. We'll have to see, but it does look like there's some pretty similar matchups going on like we have today.
Do you want to just run through the rest going on so far?
Yeah, sure. We have Texas Tech and North Carolina State, Texas and University of Texas San Antonio, Kansas State and Tulane. I know they're playing right now. I think it was getting towards the end of the game. And then Kansas and Houston. And then at the top we've got TCU and SMU.
Okay, so I was gonna point out that Kansas versus Houston game is gonna be interesting just because I mean Houston's joining the Big 12 pretty soon, so I think it's gonna be a good kind of
gauge a little bit.
Gauge, perfect word, to kind of see where, I mean, K-State's a good team, but I think that Houston is also a good team. So I'm kind of curious kind of how that competitive level between the two is going to correlate with how they're going to do in the Big 12.
Yeah, I think it'll be a really good teller just to be able to tell, you know, like how Baylor and BYU played each other.
Totally.
I think those kind of games are really cool to watch just because they aren't in the Big 12 yet. But it's a good way to, again, just get a feel for like how they actually will perform once they do get here.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so next part, let's do some banger buzz questions.
All right. What do you got?
First question of the day. We were talking about Gunnar Gundy and some of his handoffs versus hopefully he gets some throws today. Going into this game, I'm not sure exactly what is expected of him and what plays he'll be calling. Do you think, hopefully that he does get the chance to throw a ball, that he will throw for a touchdown?
Okay, so I was thinking about this because, like we talked about, he utilized a lot of just handoffs last time he got to play. So I think a lot of it initially will be that, depending on how early he gets to go in. A lot of it will be just handoffs, playing it safe, not really putting the ball in the air a whole lot. But I don't know. I would say it definitely depends on how long he's in. But I do think that, I don't know, in a red zone opportunity, I feel like he will hand it off more times than not, rather than trying to throw that touchdown. But I could see it happening. I'm gonna go bang just because I'm optimistic, and I really do want that to happen for him. So.
I am too, because I think that if he were to throw his first touchdown, I think it would be in today's game. And so I'm hoping that he gets the opportunity to do that, because I mean, next year he's our number one guy right now, so he needs to get those reps in, and he needs to start getting that practice in, because that's going to be his future here,
Exactly.
Okay, number 2, Pine Bluff scores more than 10 points in today's game. What are your thoughts?
I'm going bust. I'm going bust. I just don't see it happening. I mean, yes, we're going to be putting a lot of our secondary guys in, but even their secondary, our secondary guys are maybe even on a higher level than some of their first strings. So I don't see it happening. What about you? What do you think?
That's a tough question, because I also didn't think we were going to give up 30 points in the fourth quarter against Central Michigan. But I think that we've learned our lesson in that game, and so I'm hoping that we don't, that doesn't happen. So I'm going to say bust, they don't, but I am holding my breath a little bit on that one, just because, you
saw how it played out against Central Michigan. For sure. That makes sense. And then next one, do you think that the defense will get 3 sacks based on their performance in the past 2 games?
I think so. I think we have some strong guys on our defense, especially in the beginning of the game when we have our first strings in there. I mean, we have some great defensive linemen. I know that we're gotten sacks in the last 2 games, and so I don't see why we wouldn't continue that trend. So I'm going to say bang. I think that that's totally possible.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that one. I think that it's way more possible than it has been in the past couple games. Just seeing how this matchup might go, and I do think that we'll be able to get more than 3 sacks, 3 or more. So yeah, I'm excited to see how it plays out. But I'm going bang.
Okay, good. I mean, we got one question left. You want to ask, or you want me to ask?
You got it.
Okay, final question of the game. Okay, actually, really quick.
Go.
Will Spencer Sanders run for more than 4 touchdowns? What do you think?
Bust. I'm going bust.
All
I
right.
don't think he'll be in long enough.
I'm a contradict you. I'm gonna say bang, because I've spoken some unkind words, so I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt today. I'm gonna say he's gonna
Switching
do
it up.
We talked about the run game, so we're gonna focus on that run game today.
Here we go.
All right, well, everyone, Emma, thank you so much.
Thank
This
you.
wraps up the pregame show, you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great night.
Hi, I'm Amanda Akins. I'm the owner of Hurricane Dixie Leather. I started this company back in about 2015, and I think that one of the most unique things about our store is that we're not just your everyday mom and pop leather shop. We use a lot of color and unique techniques that set us apart from others. We are a full Wrangler retailer. We have lots of Wrangler jeans and shirts. We've also got some other fun boutique-y clothes, and everything, all the leather goods in the store are made here in the shop. We also accept custom orders.
Our state is one of the most beautiful and unique states in the USA. With diverse geographies, the historic Route 66, unforgettable restaurants, and some of the greatest people on the planet. With so much to see and so much to do, living in Oklahoma means one of the best vacation spots is right in our own backyard. Doesn't this story need to be told? As filmmakers and photographers based right here in Oklahoma, we thought so. And hey,